This is my deck review of 3 decks from 3 different eras. And this is of the Bicycle Masters. This is of the first one they ever issued through Illusionist. And this is something of your typical casino deck, or just Bicycle Ohio deck of that time period. And just something that you would, break in over time and whatnot. And it's just one that I can find I'm looking for. That it's just your standard core cards, just the Ace of Spades is the only thing that was different in this deck. And this is prone to, with cards, making the deck separate in fans. Which does happen with decks as they get old with age. And this is the thing I can compare it to. It's just a casino deck of that time. And the casino deck I have is just a New York one from Vegas. And this one, it's about your, same thing, just how the stocks compare and everything else. And then as we move on to the next one, this deck will be still needed, is the first editions where it's the Airflow finish, but as you see it's a different box style. And these things work like I've worked the entire deck to death, and it still wants to kick. And with this one, it's more of the same thing with everything else, and it's a much smoother finish. It feels like a more authentic, Ohio deck. That with the time period, this would have been like 2006, 2007, like latest 08 with their decks. Before this finish went away, it was one of their thicker ones that they used on a lot of Illusionist decks. And same thing, the casino deck is the comparable thing I have for that. And then we have one from the early 2010s that this was still an Ohio box as they overprinted them, but these were Kentucky cards, and the dead giveaway for that is the Ace of Spades, which still shows the same thing. It's just, you see on the bottom, it shows it's just made in USA and not anything else, which lasted until 2013 with decks. And that's what I meant to do, but it works. And the comparable thing for this is a 2010's stock, where with the fans, it still is prone to, see, fan separation. That's just due to age and whatnot. And the comparable thing for this is a deck from the 2010s. It's not as thick, but you definitely get your money's worth and whatnot. And this is my only 2011 deck of cards, when they still had that. And that's just, you know, what works for that period if you wanted a comparison. And then this is what's more comparable for the newer version of these, which is the Kentucky version, which they did all different core cards and everything for it. And with the Ace of Spades, they made a throwback to it. And they used metallic ink on this. And this isn't bad. This is just one of these decks that was not my favorite when I first got it. And I was more loving the old decks that they had made. And I just like ones that you can hold up to wear and tear and that just work when you need it, and not just, you know, for the time that you buy it and you break it in. And I mean, yeah, this is nice. It's just, sometimes newer is just not better for some things. Like, yeah, new decks might be, you know, cool and everything, and may hold their value. But in the end of the day, it's what works for you. And then this is the comparison, just a deck of, you know, Black Cherry Casino cards.